we had us a little offline action recently, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We had us a absolute instant classic when it comes to Street Fighter V at EVO 2022. Man, as far as where to even start with this, I guess I'll let you go first, bro. There's so much I want to say just about my whole overall experience with EVO.
Sounds good. Let's move on to maybe some notable performances at EVO. Any big upsets? I feel like the first one we got to bring it up right away. Just a Kid. Mid-best. Oh, Midwest we suck, you know what I'm saying? Terrible region.
Yep.
But we're in top 8. Let's go. Just a Kid qualifies for top 8 at EVO. Man, that was a ridiculous run. I mean, I feel like I got to bring up the list of the killers he got on the way. He did a lot of the heavy lifting off stream. He took out Hot Dog and Pools. I think Hot Dog was the second wave of Pools. He got a win over, I believe, DCQ as well. Urian from China, if I'm not mistaken. So he had a lot of sleeper killers that were in the brackets that I feel like a lot of people might not even know were there at EVO. You got to remember at EVO, 99.999% of the action happens off screen at a random setup with like 40 people huddled around. My calves are still sore. I was on my tippy toes, in the back. They make the tall guy go in the back. So I'm like stretching there, seeing one corner of the screen and one life bar to figure out what's going on.
I always got to stand at the back, bro, because of me being tall, bro. I agree.
Yeah. You're just too big to be up front. You're too wide. You block the whole screen, so they got to kick you in the back. But yeah, David moves all the way to top 8. He was in position to get into top 8 winners as well against Gachi-kun, and he went down 2-1 in a really close match. But the next match after that, in loser side, him versus Chris CCH. Oh my God, my heart was in my throat the entire time. I could not believe how close that match was. Chris CCH was setting the pace every single round, I feel like, and Just a Kid had to clutch out round after round after round, and then it came down to the last interaction between the two. And this is like what's worse to go up against when you both have one hit away? Luke with his fireball and V-Trigger 1, or Jury stand medium kick? Those are like the two greatest round-ending toolkits in the game, and then both of them are going toe-to-toe with one hit left to qualify for top 8 at EVO. I mean, I can't, the pressure there is just unreal.
And at that point, we were thinking that that's the last EVO of Street Fighter V. Right. Now we got a new big announcement and everything that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, bro, like in general, even if you do go to the other one, which is, we all know now is EVO Japan, there's no guarantee at all that you're going to be in that same spot. So the pressure there is extremely high. And of course, Chris CCH, just overall, I want to make sure we even give a shout out to him. So he's playing amazing, just signed to TSM, bro. Like,
that's huge. That's another one of these points here. That's big for the FGC. TSM, one of the largest esports organizations of all time, picked up Chris CCH leading to this event, which I think is an amazing pick. Like you mentioned, his run, I don't want to undersell it. In losers, he took out Mena, right? He took out Punk. Let's see who else he went through. His run through losers: Mena, Yanu, Punk, Mira, and then it ended by Just a Kid. But man, taking out those heavy hitters like that, like there was a lot of upsets in the bracket, and they were caused by him.
Bruh. And you talk about upsets, Brian, we got to make sure we get to the most important thing at EVO for me. First and foremost, shout out to the champion of EVO, of course, for Street Fighter V, Kawano, who I would say pretty much played perfect, Brian. Right? He played perfect. But what I want to talk about is the fact that Idom, XSET's very own, America's very own, proved us right. Now, I know that there's some people who have a special interest to hate, who want to not admit the truth. I know some of them are going to say, oh, but he didn't get first place. Idom proved without a shadow of doubt that he is currently, and I'm dead serious, this is not for the sake of dramatic effect or sensationalism of a show, he is the best player in the world in Street Fighter V. Now, before you go just disagreeing and all that, let's move the goalpost a little bit. So I want to get your clear focus on this. Anybody watching who was hating and disagreeing with me or whatever, or who claimed that I was being ethnocentric and I'm just being biased because it's America and all that stuff, right? Okay, we don't know until we play against the rest of the world and da-da-da. Oh, Pax told me. Pax told me on the show, on Reversal GG, he literally says, oh, well, I mean, I think you guys don't practice enough against Idom, or you don't study enough for him, and that's why he beats everybody. Nowhere else is the same person able to dominate. Like over here, we had to practice for Problem. We had to practice for so-and-so. He's not any of them. He's better than all of them significantly, and that's a fact, and that's what I've been saying. That's what Brian's been saying. And then what did we see Idom do? Idom actually went to losers early. I'm actually going to post that up on YouTube because I was there watching that in pools. He goes to losers against Ryan Hart and surprise and loss, right? Yeah. Ryan pops off, great win from the legend. But then after that, what does he do? He goes on a trailblazing run all the way through losers. And Brian, you can bring up all the people he beat, but I want to make sure I shout out specifically that top 8, bro. He starts off in losers. He has to play Mr. Crimson. That's actually an important thing to bring up right there in itself. There's too many things. Okay, fine. I'll keep it in order.
It's too much.
He goes against Mr. Crimson, okay? Now, going into this tournament, there's only 2 players, 2 only exclusively facts. It's my job to look into this stuff. It's my job to be in these conversations, bro. Only Mr. Crimson and Idom were looked at as they might be the best on planet Earth right now. Nobody else, right? Going into Evo. And that was the 2 favorites to win. They face off. People think Mr. Crimson gonna win, blah, blah, blah. People side betting and everything. Idom smokes Mr. Crimson. Respectfully, shout out to Mr. Crimson. Amazing. Idom then goes up against Daigo the Beast immediately after Mr. Crimson. Classic. Great set. Classic set. Daigo's Ume flash kicks were hitting at an incredible rate. What does Idom do? Wins regardless, clutches out. Then he has to go up against Tokido right after that, Brian.
Can't call that one a classic.
3-0. Over Tokido, Evo top 8, loser side, 3-0. After I just beat Mr. Crimson and just beat Daigo. Here goes Tokido, 3-0. Sorry, bye. Then he plays Gachi-kun, Capcom Cup champ versus Capcom Cup champ. Losers finals. Beats him too, bro. And then he makes it to grand finals against this dude Kawano is playing perfect. He resets the bracket. He beats him too. He resets the bracket in the first set. And then in grand finals, it comes down to last game, last round. And Kawano, amazing job, closes it out and gets his victory. And he was the better player on that day, respectfully. But as far as Brian, and I'll wrap up, I'm not even going to say nothing else. I'm going to just only let you go because I'm saying a lot. The reason why Idom is the best player in the world, look at his path, look at who he had to beat, and look at what he was doing leading up to this. Look at what the conversation was. I was not, as amazing as Kawano is, I was not hearing people before Evo. If so, show me the tweets. Show me the tweet. Show me the Twitch stream. Show me something where players were saying Kawano is the best in the world. So you're not gonna win Evo and then all of a sudden now, for the sake of hating on America, for the sake of being biased, and wanting to say, oh, EU so much better than USA and all that, for the sake of being biased, oh, Kawano's the best now. Shut up. That's cap. If Mr. Crimson won Evo, I would say, oh yeah, he the best. Maybe if Problem won, because what he did at Kumite, but he wasn't even that conversation either. But really, if Mr. Crimson won or Idom won, we seen what Idom did. We said he was that good. That tournament sure looked like NLBC. And the last thing I'll say is somebody on Twitter literally said, Brian, they literally said on Twitter, it looks like Daigo or Tokido wouldn't be able to win NLBC. And that's facts. Daigo and Tokido can't win NLBC consistently. Why? Because Idom is there. They'd be losing just like us, and let alone the players who aren't as good as them, they'll be getting smoked too. So stop the cap when you talk about America's not good because Idom keeps winning. He's better than all of you. It is what it is.
Ooh, yep. I mean, I think we were discussing that. They don't practice, huh? Right? Daigo, Tokido, they don't practice. They don't prepare, huh? But yeah, Idom. I mean, what else can I add besides add to the facts of what you said? I'll just run. You got the big points out of the way, so I'll just bring up the run just to kind of send the point home. Idom does go to losers early to Ryan Hart. He's the one who made Idom get second. Let's be real. So shout out to Ryan Hart for that.
I agree.
But once Idom goes to losers, here's the run. Denka Diaz, Terrence, JB, taking out some of America's best. Cien, Angry Bird.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's to get into top 8. Once in top 8, Mr. Crimson, Daigo, Tokido, Gachi-kun, Kawano, and then he loses the set. Now, the Kawano set, to point it out, Idom lost the tournament, but he is up in games versus Kawano. Kawano won with the winner's side advantage. Kawano 100% earned his win. That's how it goes. He was consistent, more consistent throughout the tournament. Idom fumbled early, and Kawano took that advantage and got the win. Now, to say who's the better player between the two, that's why it's interesting here, because once again, Idom has more games right now. I would love to see these two players duke it out in a long set format. I feel like that is needed for the storyline at this point. Maybe we'll get it at Capcom Cup. Maybe we'll get something coming up. But, you know, the reason this is so intense is that Idom was about to do something unheard of, right? CEO, Combo Breaker, Evo. That's like the holy trinity for like a season. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a Street Fighter player, if you get those 3 in a row, that three-peat, unheard of, legendary status. Capcom Cup and Evo, no one has that. No one has that in Street Fighter V. That is unheard of. Idom was 1 hit away from getting that practically. 1 hit away. So the fact, if he had landed that hit, there would be no debate, right? It would be almost too boring. I'm sure we'd be popping off, but it would almost be boring at this point because I feel like everyone else would have to close their mouths forever. Like you would have nothing to say. But now there's that little shadow of a doubt that allows to keep things interesting. But I do want to give a big shout out to Kawano and make a point there, because you mentioned how no one was saying like, oh, Kawano's the best. However, I do think that's us being a little like disconnected, and also the online era. Kawano 2021 freed up Japan.
He was probably the best. He was probably the best.
Freed up Japan. It wasn't until, you know, after the season finals, the latest season, Colleen got a little bit adjusted, right? And then Momochi is the one who claimed the CPT event. Prior to that, Kawano was winning Topanga League, Evo Online, qualified for Capcom Cup, was in grand finals before he qualified a couple times, and it was in the top 8, and then won season finals against Daigo in fairly dominant fashion. I think it was a 5-3 set, but it was, you know, Daigo had
but Daigo was fighting back at the end, because really he was getting smoked.
Daigo was fighting for his life the entire time. You know, Kawano was in the driver's seat that entire set. So Kawano was clearly the best, but I think a conversation there to be had is he was doing a lot of it online. Topanga League was in person, but a lot of this was online, right? So I feel like people, once again, they had this mentality of like, oh, if it's not offline and I can see the players in the seats next to each other, it doesn't matter. Also, Kawano, young player, new generation player, one of the youngest from Japan. I mean, this top 8, the Japanese players are old. They're established veterans. They've been in the game for a long time. The average age is probably at least 35. Kawano's coming in there, I believe he's like 22, 23. Very young player for Japan. Coming from the online era, that's when he got good. People say you can't get good online. He got Evo from playing online.
Good point.
He got Evo from playing online. So I feel like this is another one of the storylines. I feel like people weren't talking about Kawano because all this action was happening online. We've been mentioning it for a long time. These people winning these online events, they win it for a reason. And if you can win online, apparently you can win offline and get an Evo championship under your belt. So don't discount, don't discredit. Put in the work, you know, boot up, plug in your Ethernet cable. It can get you somewhere in life. You never know. But that said, Kawano is the Evo champion. We have to give him props. Definitely one of the most consistent players of the past 2 years. Easily in the conversation for the best. But we have that little shadow of a doubt. I'm really hoping to see the Capcom Cup come to fruition. Idom versus Kawano. Or maybe some kind of set. Before Street Fighter V wraps up, I feel like these two players are at the top of the game. I need to see the Titans clash one more time.
Yes.
Maybe at the end, before Street Fighter 6 comes, like clearly this is where the storyline is going. We need to see it one time. But that said, Evo 2022 was an amazing event. I mean, you can still hear it in our voices. I'm still shot from Evo. Like, it was just so much fun cheering on all the players and seeing the high level action and seeing how all these players have worked so hard through such difficult circumstances. It hasn't been easy the past 2 years. So to have all the community back together under one roof, cheering in that stadium, the power of the community, the passion from all the players and all the fans spectating that event, it was an amazing time. And I feel like it just reinvigorates the soul of the FGC to see the best of the best duke it out for the title of Evo champion.